Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday morning Mortgage Coach Call. My name is Dave Savage. I am the CEO of Mortgage Coach, and we are absolutely dedicated to your personal and professional success as mortgage professionals. Today's call, just like all, will be recorded, so every Tuesday we're delivering value from an idea, inspirational standpoint, and every Thursday we're going deep on the tactics to execute these ideas. I do want to do a shout out to the Mortgage Coach support team. They continue to add value with our quick tips. So if you're looking for some just quick tactical ways to use Mortgage Coach more effective, check out the quick tips in the knowledge base. Today, as our featured guest, we have Jack Daly. Jack has been a personal mentor of mine for, decades. He's a top author. And Jack, I'm going to do a little more of an introduction in a minute, but welcome to the call.
Thanks, Dave. I was glad that you just were gentle with the decades.
Hey, come on, man. I've got the gray hair to support it, man. But I've learned a lot from Jack. I mean, when I think of the people that have touched, given me wisdom, given me inspiration that I think is part of my success story, Jack, you're one of those people. I still remember playing golf with you at Pelican, and you probably don't know it, but a lot of the things that you shared, I took action on, and they delivered a lot of value. I hired a personal coach based off of that golf game.
I remember that day, and that is a decade or more ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. So, hey, man, I'm looking forward to bringing you into the community here. Jack, feel free to jump in as much as you want. I'm also excited to bring in Josh Mettle. I've been trying to get Josh on the Mortgage Coach team, not for a decade, but for a long time. And finally, with the help of Bill Hart, we have got this just super successful mortgage professional to integrate Mortgage Coach into his workflow. And Josh, it's good to have you here, man.
It's a pleasure to be here. It probably felt like a decade with as much pounding on me as you had to do, but I will say here and now for everyone, I am sure glad that you were persistent with me.
Well, when you are incredibly successful and you've got a process, that's one thing. You had a process, you were incredibly successful, so it wasn't broken. It's really hard to get you to slow down to take on a new habit, even though it might be a better habit. It's a hard thing to do, so I'm glad that you finally did it.
Yeah, for me, the enemy of great was good, and I was sitting in good for a long time. So again, I appreciate you pounding on me.
Good. Well, hey, Josh, I'm going to bring your story in just a second. I do want to share some insights with the community. Feel free to pile on anytime.
You got it.
So guys, today's call, this entire call is just about having inspirational conversations with buyers and realtors. And I put the word inspirational in very specifically because I've got Jack Daly on the call, and he's just going to fire you guys up, and he's going to give you a lot of energy that can help you not be the blah blah loan officer with realtors. So one important insight that I really want to make sure everybody's clear on is that it is a new world. Things are changing. I do believe rates are going to go up. I don't think the macroeconomics of our industry are going to get better, but I do think there's some trends going on. And I've been, this merger of Zillow and Trillia has brought it to the top of the headlines. And when you read a lot of blog posts, they're called the ZTR as a new medium. And at the end of the day, ZTR means the MLS is in everybody's back pocket. And there's unprecedented level of transparency and information for home buyers and realtors. But there's also a mountain of confusion and options. When you look at all of the websites, all of the apps, realtors are confused, and so are home buyers. And so, my message to that is everybody on this call, being in the confident decision business has never been more important, and it's never been a bigger opportunity. And here as a mortgage coach, you have tools and ways to deliver that at a better level. Another big trend is that we're seeing, more and more buyers, and this is stats not 5 years from now, but over the next 12 months, that 32% of home buyers are going to be under 34, 21% under 44. So you've got to really be thinking, how are you connecting with the millennials and the Gen X? And when you look at the trend over the next 5 years, it's 74%. So, as mortgage coaches, you guys know this. I've shared this before with you. But my question is, are you taking action? Have you implemented, have you executed in a way that the way you're delivering value, the way that you're connecting, it's different, it's better, and it connects with this new generation. So Jack, I wanted to share some of this because I know you're going to provide a lot of wisdom, but I wanted to really connect it from some of the modern trends. Another piece of research before we get into the interview and the talk is this research that came from Google and NAR. Lots of stats, lots of facts, but to me, a big takeaway for mortgage coaches is that 85% of buyers and sellers, they want agents who use video marketing, but only about 15% do. So that means there's a big opportunity for those that don't, and there's a big opportunity for those that do. And as a mortgage coach, hopefully you're not delivering the same mortgage experience that you did in 2007. Heck, so many loan officers are doing the same thing that they were doing back in the 90s. I challenge everybody, are you still driving the same car that you had in the 90s? Let's make sure that you're executing. So I really want to hit this home for mortgage coach members. You guys know this stuff, but I can assure you that hundreds of people that are on this call and that are listening to the recording, are you implementing a modern mortgage experience? Are you making sure that when you deliver your advice to home buyers that you're sending it with a link so that if they want to open it from a mobile device, they get a mobile experience? Are you driving that with each and every client? And when you have was a referral from a financial planner or a realtor, are you looping them in so that they're in the loop of the advice that you're providing in the way that you're delivering a unique experience? Are you doing that? So Josh, I want to start bringing you a call because up until several months ago, you weren't doing this. You were delivering advice, with a fee worksheet, and you have seen the light. I'm sure this feedback from a realtor was part of what turned on the light bulb. But as someone who's incredibly successful for years now, but now you've decided to start integrating mortgage coach into your workflow, what was it that got you to that point?
I was asking clients to send me the financing proposals that they were getting from other clients, and so I was, I had taken my stance as a consultative, advice-driven stance where, I'm very open with clients. If they had a better deal on the table, I would let them know, hey, you've got a better deal there. You should go there. I want permission to be your backup loan officer. But in doing that and taking that stance, I was getting a lot of clients sending me their financing proposals, and I do a lot of stuff with financial advisors, and so the financial advisors would send me their stuff, and there was a common theme, and the common theme was, hey, I've got four financing proposals, and we can't make heads or tails out of it. And then I started looking at my financing proposals that I was sending out, and maybe my narrative was a little better, but viewed on a mobile device, when you can't open 4 screens at a time, you're toggling back and forth, impossible to understand difference in closing costs, payments, long time total cost, and it's just confusing. And I was getting the message that clients were turned off by the complexity of multiple fees worksheets, and I could see the brilliance in it. I just couldn't figure out how to do it efficiently, and once I figured that out, it was game on. That was the last fee worksheet I sent out.
Good. Well, hey, this is the first time I've had you as a guest on a mortgage coach call. If you wouldn't mind telling everybody what market you're in, a little bit about your mortgage practice that you think would be valuable to other mortgage coaches.
Yeah, certainly. So I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah. Been in the mortgage business for 13 years. Married, 2 young kids, which is a full-time job in and of itself. And so our team has expanded recently. We've gone from about 3 or 4 western states to about 30 states. And our business primarily works with financial advisors and realtors and providing mortgage advice. Today we've scaled up to about 10 loan officers on the team, and I'm kind of moving over in a slightly producing branch manager position so that I have more time to kind of direct the team and less origination myself.
Got it. So you've always been a heavy originator, and now you're focused more on leading and managing. And how many units is your practice closing on a monthly basis, just to get a feel for the volume?
So we're sitting right around that 50 mark over the last 3 months on our team.
Good, good. So you're doing a lot of volume. You're doing a lot of quality loans, and you have for a long time. So that's not new. So why don't you share? I mean, this was a success story that you sent me. I think it was from a realtor. I know you've also sent me a few from financial planners. I really want to center this around having inspired conversations with referral partners. Why don't you share what you're doing and how you're integrating mortgage coaching into your value proposition for all the mortgage coaches on the call?
Yeah, sure. So this particular comment came from a realtor that's a high-end luxury home realtor in a particular county of ours, and she's just really drawn herself a niche with the high-end market there. She's got a great website. She's working with some great builders. And she said, I'm having a hard time articulating to my clients what this, particular loan product happened to be a jumbo one-time closed construction loan. And she said, it just is confusing, and I can feel myself trying to explain it. I'm doing a bad job. How can you help me? And I said, well, what are your price points? And so she said, well, we're from 500 to $1.5 million, or whatever it was, 500 to $1 million. And I said, okay, well, why don't I create a video and then a breakdown of this particular construction loan program that we're working on in this project, and I'll do one at 500, we'll do one at 750, we'll do one at $1 million. And then from there, what I'll do is I'll just walk them through it. And then once you don't have to explain anymore. Then all you have to do is forward to them and say, we have a phenomenal one-time closed construction program, but better than me try and explain it to you, click on this link. And then, of course, it goes to the Edge presentation. And then I'm really walking through with them, here's the program, here's the highlights, and here's the total cost over the lifetime of the loan. Here's why you want to go with this loan versus another loan. And so when I created that, and it took all of about 7 minutes. Once I created that and sent it over to her, this was her response, right? She's like, I've been killing myself trying to articulate what this product is, and now I have something that I can send out in a 2-minute video. You perfectly summed it up. It's got graphs and charts, and it's real dynamic to look at, and it was a home run for her.
That's beautiful. So one of the things I've been trying to teach, both inspirationally and tactically, to everybody is that Mortgage Coach is not just a great tool to deliver value to an individual borrower, but it's a great way to differentiate yourself with both agents and financial planners. Any other success stories or any other ways that you're using Mortgage Coach to differentiate with the actual referral partner?
Yeah, I mean, that's the trickle-down effect, and what happens is they end up having a conversation without you there when you carbon copy them both in. And then I'd always say, call the referral partner and let them know what you just delivered, because they may be moving quickly, and if the email is titled, hey, Dave, but I really want Jack, the referral partner, in this transaction to pay attention, then I'm calling Jack and I'm saying, hey, I just delivered the total cost analysis to Dave. I want you to look at it because I want you to understand what it is that I'm proposing, and I've mapped out the cost of this transaction over what we think the client, how long the client's going to be in the home. And so once I engage them in that level, then what happens is Dave and Jack, or buyer and realtor, or buyer and financial advisor, of course end up circling back and having a conversation, and that conversation goes something like, holy cow, I've never seen anything like this before, that's pretty cool. So if you can circle them kind of strategically to get talking about the presentation behind you and even answering questions back and forth, and then circle back to you, it's a home run. And then that just, the next time that agent's out with a client and the client goes, yeah, I got 4 good faith estimates from my credit union, then the agent goes, well, look at this. Maybe you should talk to this guy. So I think that's really the long-term, building of the tidal wave.
Beautiful. So hey, mortgage coaches on this call, let's make it the focus this week. Obviously, continue to deliver great mortgage experiences to your home buyers and to your borrowers. But let's take that conversation and let's have it with our referral partners, showing them how you're delivering advice, showing them how you're making them look like a hero, and you're part of their sales process. You could actually make the argument to a realtor, you refer business to me, I'm going to improve your buyer conversion rate, and I'm going to save you money. Let me show you how. So let's take that move. Let's make that the tactical focus for today. So I'm going to be bringing Josh back where he is the main guest, and we're really going to do a site visit on his mortgage practice, learn a lot more about how he does so much business and how it's evolved. So Josh, feel free to stay on this. I want you to stay on the call because I want you to bring perspectives as a branch leader and an originator as I interview Jack Daly. So please jump in as much as you want. Hey, Jack, before I officially transition to you, any questions for Josh or anything you want to add to this part of the call?
No, Dave, but I will tell you that if I can give a standing ovation, if you have a visual, I'm in my office here just clapping and cheering. So much of what Josh just shared, I hope the rest of the mortgage coaches got, because it's an awful lot of what we see as speaker trainers in the sales venue throughout the world, that that the top producers, whether it's the President's Club or the Chairman's Club, year after year after year, the same people tend to be in those clubs. And they follow a variety of different similarities or common threads, as I like to say. Let me tell you a few of the things that I heard Josh just say. One was systems and processes, which are two words that for most salespeople we don't hear very often. The second thing that I heard was an approach that had to do with a team. He referred to his team several times, and that really speaks to leverage. And also when we talk about leverage, I love the idea of leveraging video technology and within the mortgage coach system. And the last thing I would tell you is that it all comes down in terms of leveraging your growth of your business to helping others be successful so that they can then help you. And that was all about the referral partner. So many themes that I write about and speak about and share with businesses all over the world. Josh was telling us that's just the way he breathes.
Yep, you nailed it, man. So Jack, this is the first time I have officially interviewed you in the Mortgage Coach Call. As I mentioned to everybody, Jack has been a mentor of mine for a long, long time, although we haven't got to see each other as much over the past 5 years. I think I told you I had dinner with Cindy Ertman from RPM yesterday, spent some time with Brett, your old partner, dating back to when you were an operator. So a lot of people don't realize, you were the CEO of a very large institution. You've led in very large sales organizations in the mortgage space. If you wouldn't mind giving a little bit about your mortgage backstory, and then let's bring that, to contemporary, what Jack's doing today.
Yeah, that's cool. So I'm going to really date myself, but when you were talking about right in the beginning, Dave, about the projection is we should see some rise in the interest rates. Man, I just took a dagger to the chest when I thought about me as an originator way back in the mid-'70s when 30-year fixed interest rates were 17.5%. 17.5%. When they got down to like 13, we were throwing gala parties and saying, does life get any better than this? I just pull my hair out when I think about today's environment in the mortgage business. I have built several mortgage companies, international firms, and I've run some very large ones. Some of the names that some of the people on the call may recognize: Evans Financial, Homax, ShelterNet, Glenfed Mortgage, Fleet Mortgage, Platinum Capital. Some of those companies, we have thousands of loan officers and loan originators in the street. It didn't matter whether it was retail, wholesale, correspondent, builder, call centers, 125s, net branches, everything that you can put on the platter, I've had my fingers in and responsibility for over the years. All of that was about 15 years ago and further back. To the last 15 years, I have traveled the world. My first 3 years, I focused specifically on being a sales and sales management trainer, speaker in the mortgage industry. And then after about 3 years, I decided, why am I taking this crazy roller coaster ride that you guys do all the time, which is interest rates up, interest rates down, business up, business down? And so I pulled the plug and opened up my business to all different industries and went beyond North America. And so I spend today about 30% of my time outside of North America. You name the country, I likely have been there. My focus is on sales and sales management and building a winning culture. And the industries that I'm in front of probably number about 70 different industries each year, with an occasional mortgage company thrown in there for good measure from time to time. It's interesting, Dave, to see how much we can import from industries outside the mortgage industry that are really doing some very cool things that we in the mortgage industry can be beneficiaries of. And I think the mortgage coach does a little bit of that in bringing that kind of perspective to your coaches.
So folks, I want to make sure you guys all connect the dots on just who we have on the call today. Jack was the CEO of Glendale Fed. He was one of the top executives of Fleet. Jack, when you think of your, the peak of your career, what was the biggest sales organization that was under your leadership?
Yeah, so we at Fleet, we had every imaginable type of business going. The total number of originators was 2,600.
Yeah, so think about it. Jack has been an individual producer. He rised the ranks of the corporate mortgage industry to become the CEO and the top guy. And then he took an entrepreneurial swing with Platinum. You know, that's where Jack, you and I really became friends and connected. And you guys had a pretty big sales force at one time. How big was that?
Yeah, we got to about 1,000 people if you included our call center and our net branches. The really cool thing is that I grew up on the Northeast Coast and moved to Southern California in the mid-'80s for the weather, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Started a company called Glenfed Mortgage with 3 other guys. Check this out. In 18 months, the 4 of us turned into 750 employees, doing about $350 million a month in mortgages. And in our first 3 years, we made $42 million in profits.
Boom. So Jack has had some big wins. And then I think what's just really interesting and why I'm excited every time I'm with Jack, but now he has taken a swing and he's out, you know, he's a motivational speaker, a sales trainer in tons of industries, so he knows our space really, really well. But now he's been out on the road for a while and he's going to come back into the mortgage coach community and bring some value and love. So Jack, you know, talk a little bit about the book. I mean, you took some real time here, and from what I could tell, every time I do an Amazon search, it's incredibly highly rated. Tell us a little bit about your book, and also why did you write your book?
Yeah, so people have been banging on me for writing a book for the last 2 decades. If anybody's interested, give me an email, and I'll come back to you with some specifics. My email is jack@jackdaly.net, and that's D-A-L-Y. But the experience was really cool. I pushed away the idea of doing a book because I, quote-unquote, didn't have the time. And it was so much easier to produce audios and videos and all of those types of things because I could just hire somebody to tape me and record me, and we would just punch out the DVDs and the audios and so forth. So I met a publisher in New York about 1.5 years ago who said, give me 24 hours of your time, and I'll have a book for you. And I said, well, what kind of a book is that going to be? And he said, it'll be a bestseller based upon your content. And so 24 hours, how could I not take the bait? So eight telephone conversations of 3 hours each, and poof, in less than a year, I had a book that was published on the 22nd of April of this year. I was in a hotel room in Boston, Dave, at the time, and Amazon kept giving me updates as the day went on as to how the book was going. And by the end of the day, at midnight on the 22nd of April, Hyper Sales Growth was the name of the book. Hyper Sales Growth was rated as the '1 best-selling business book on Amazon in 7 countries. And it all took 24 hours of my time. Since the book was published, in the first 30 days, I was hired to speak as the opening keynote speaker to an organization of 7,500 people, whereas the largest audience I had spoken to prior to that was about 2,000. So the idea of I'm too busy, we need to get that out of the way. If you've got a book in you, you can leverage it to grow your business and differentiate yourself from your competitors.
So, hey, man, I think you need to, if you haven't already done it, do a quick video on how you did a book in 24 hours. I think there's a whole conversation to be had around that, which I think I want to get into. But before I do that, I know when I was talking to Cindy Ertman last night, I said, hey, I'm going to be interviewing Jack today. Any great questions? You know, of course, you know Cindy. I mean, we could have gone on and I could have just turned this into her interview. But I did want to throw in one question because she mentioned that you called her out in page 165. Give me a little backstory on how there was something around 165 about Cindy. What's that all about?
Yeah, so I call it Cindy's secret in the book. Cindy Ertman has been the #1 producing loan originator at Platinum Capital and now RPM from the day she started. all the way through today, and that's more than 10 years. I can tell you that the volume that she produces is just magical. When she and I were working together as a sole retail originator, she generated in a single year $186 million worth of loans. And I take a breath every time that I say that. She was ranked something like 40th in the nation in terms of loan originators. And again, on the retail side, without the benefit of having a big bank producing leads or anything along those lines, she produced that business herself. Well, there were two things that I would call Cindy's secret in here. One of them, when we opened her up and saw what she was doing, what we found is that 90% of her business was generated from just 12 clients. And I will tell you, Dave, one of the things that I find with top-producing salespeople, no matter where I go in the world, no matter what industry that I'm speaking in, there's a common thread, and that's this. The better loan originators, the better salespeople, actually call on less people, and they write more business. The key is they call on the right people. Too many salespeople, too many loan originators calling on too many people that don't deserve to be called on. And so finding the top people to call on, finding the Pareto accounts, finding the real estate people that are actually selling homes at some quantity and consistency and building relationships there is the key to success as a top producing originator, as well as other people that could feed you business, just as we mentioned, just as Josh mentioned earlier in terms of financial advisors. The second thing that I would tell you about Cindy is that she practiced the word leverage. And when I talk about leverage, there are very many things that we could put under it, but here's one of them, and that is she had a team of assistants. There are things that need to be done as a loan originator, but not necessarily done by you. And so we should always be asking ourselves as originators, am I working on the highest payoff activity that I could be working on? At the time that Cindy was generating that kind of volume base, she was employing 4 personal assistants to handle a lot of the things that are called day-to-day that are absolutely necessary to dot the I's and cross the T's on these apps. But I will tell you, generating the business and building the relationships is the key to her success.
No, that's, I mean, we could probably end the call right now and just say, hey guys, let's focus on nothing but that for the rest of this week, and how well are you executing around that? Again, it kind of fits under the category. I mean, I do think most people know that, but are you really living those principles? I mean, I even was thinking of myself. I mean, I consider myself highly effective, very successful as a sales leader, but I could fine-tune that. Hey, Josh, you know, I hope you're still on the call. Anything that you want to add to this, or anything that you want to ask Jack right now?
Well, Jack, I love the concept of leverage, and I actually did you go through Advantage Publishing for your book, Jack?
Yes, I did.
They do a fantastic job. Anyways, I had to ask you that. But leverage, you know, Dave, you asked me my mortgage edge why, and I don't think we should uncap this now. I think we should do that on September 2nd when we get together again. But one of my answers to the why was leverage, and there's just no way to get to those numbers that you're mentioning without leverage, without a team, and Edge allows incredible leverage. It allows the financial advisors, and it allows the realtors, and it even allows the clients to be so impressed with the message that they kind of syndicate it by sending it to their other clients and to their other advisors and to their other realtors. And so I think leverage plays a big piece of why I use Edge.
That's awesome. And again, leverage. So many people don't leverage. Anybody that's closing under 5 loans a month, I would challenge you to and by the way, and you're working hard. You know, you're putting in at least an 8-hour day. My guess is you're not calling the right people, and when you do get up to bat for a loan, or when you get up to bat with a referral partner, there's a big difference between great and good. You're doing good enough, but it's not great. And so, you know, that concept of delivering the best presentation, in a way that can be leveraged, calling on the right people. I mean, we could just end the call and be done. But we're not going to be done because there's too much more value to deliver. Go ahead, Jack.
Hey, Dave, let me just throw something in here. So no matter how good you are as an originator, there are only so many loans that you can personally write. There are only so many calls that you can make. There are only so many calls that you can take. There are only so many face-to-face meetings that you can make. And so what we really have to force ourselves to do in order to generate significantly larger volumes than the average producer out there is we need to figure out how to leverage ourselves. I, as a speaker today, am booked 80% of my year for 2015 has already been spoken for right now. I will be sold out or near sold out before the end of the year for 2015, and in fact, we're booking events in 2016, 17, and 18 right today. I also will tell you, though, that I couldn't do it without my 7 personal assistants. And in our company, as a speaking training company, I tell all 7 the same thing. I only do 3 things in this company, and they are, I speak because I think I'm good at it, and I like doing it. Second, I travel to where I speak because I like to travel, and even if I didn't, I haven't figured out how to get everybody to come to my house. So if I want to do the first, I got to do the second. And then the third is I have fun. And anything and everything that goes on in our speaking and training company that has to do with anything other than those 3, one of those 7 people is doing it. And I will tell you, because of that, that has caused our company to have the success and generate the amount of business that we're doing. And it puts me in my absolute ideal spot, which is where I want to be, and that is I want to be in front of people, making a difference, and showing them how to grow their business.
Well, and having lots of fun. So for anybody that follows Jack's Facebook page, first of all, if you don't, you should. I mean, every time I look at it, you just go, okay, Dave, you need to do more. So Jack, something that I always am inspired by, if you could just walk everybody through your schedule and also highlight a little bit about, you know, what you do you are a businessman athlete, and I want to make sure that comes out in the call, what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Yeah, so this will be a little bit of, we may lose some people on this one, Dave. I'm over the top. You know, when Jack LaLanne died a couple years ago, I was deluged with emails from people saying, hey, you're the new Jack LaLanne. I am a physical fitness junkie. I have completed 67 marathons and am on my way to doing a marathon in all 50 states. I have 37 states completed, and I'm also going to do 100 marathons in total. I have a goal to do a marathon in all the continents. I will finish my continent marathon goal in February when I do Antarctica, and I've already paid and scheduled for that trip. I've also raced 15 Ironmans. That's a 2.4-mile swim, a 112-mile bike, and a 26.2-mile run, also known as a long day in the office. I've done an Ironman on every continent except for Asia, as well as competed in the Ironman World Championship, and 2 years ago in Spain represented Team USA. I'm playing the top 100 golf courses in America. I've got 87 of those now completed. It's all about, for me, it's all about the following things. Having goals, identifying the activities, and then reveling in a sense of accomplishment. I see the benefits in my health, and I see the benefits in my stress management, and quite frankly, it's provided me a tremendous amount of balance because I'm a hard-charging executive, hard-charging business person, and if I let myself go on just that, I probably would be dead at this point. And it's all about fun, sucking the marrow out of life. I am believing that we are here one time, and I am going to take this life down in a big, big way.
Oh, man. I got fired up just hearing that. So, Josh, any thoughts or comments to that? He just raised the bar pretty high on everybody.
Yeah, Jack, I just want to hang out, man. I got to be honest. As soon as this is done, I'm sending an email to jack@jackdaly.net, and I'm coming to visit you, man. You are a fun dude, and there's no question as to why you're as successful as you are. You are intriguing. You are passionate, and I just want to grow up like Jack when I grow up. I want to be like Jack.
Hey, Josh, it was fun. I've crossed the Utah Marathon off my list. There's one in Utah called the Top of Utah, and they bus you up the top of this mountain, and you run down 13 miles before you hit flat zone. I felt like Jesse Owens of years ago. I mean, it was just a magical marathon experience there.
Well, anytime you come to Salt Lake, make sure you look me up. We got to hang out.
Yeah,
you got it.
You guys got to run a marathon together. So, what you just said, Jack, made me think of a quote from Les Brown. He was the guest speaker after dinner last night, and he said a lot of really smart things. But he said something, I think it goes something like, if you do the hard things in life, life will be easy. But if you do the easy things, life will be hard. So I mean, I think that's a really smart, wise statement. But it makes all the sense in the world. But it isn't so easy. So Jack, what are some of your, when you can't want to get up every morning and do what you do? There's got to be some days where you're just like, ugh. How do you break free personally from having a bad day or not executing around your goals and vision? What's your secret?
Yeah. So it's not true, Dave. And that is, what's not true is I don't have those days where I don't want to get up. I've never had a cup of coffee, and the people who know me say, nor should I. I've never smoked. I wake up and I say, let's make today absolutely awesome. And the only way that the day cannot be awesome is if I let someone in the space, in the 6 inches between my ears. And I own and protect that space and say, put a smile on, walk proudly, and make some really cool stuff happen today. I will tell you, Dave, that one of the keys for me is I'm ready to go first thing in the morning. And one of the reasons I am is that within 30 minutes before I go to bed each night, I put down a skeletal to-do list of what my day is going to look like the next day. It's interesting that they've done studies and they've found that your subconscious over the night will work on your to-do list and structure you for a higher degree of success than the person who crafts their to-do list first thing in the morning. So what I end up doing is having the top item on my to-do list. I'm going to go and either take a run or take a bike ride or go to the gym. For example, this morning I was at the gym at 4:30 in the morning. I rode on a stationary Concept 2 rower for an hour. I jogged for a half hour, and I did a full circuit on the strength equipment for an hour, and then got back to here for breakfast and started writing my monthly newsletter, and then we're on the call here. I've got about 5 more calls here this morning, and then I've got a plane to catch at 3 o'clock this afternoon headed to San Jose. I can't wait to get up in the morning, and my wife says in the evening I fall asleep in the middle of a sentence, and I wake up in the morning and finish the sentence. I am amped up for life.
I love that, man. So, hey, I have interviewed now my second time a young guy named Hal Elrod. He authored a book called The Miracle Morning. You don't happen to know him by any chance, do you, Jack?
No, I don't. I don't.
No. Well, I actually introduced him to my friend Darren Hardy, the editor of Success Magazine, and Darren loved his story, and he will be on it in the next month or two. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time on his story, although, if Josh, there's a 5-minute quick hit in the mortgage coach community that really encapsulates it, and they're recorded. I mean, it's fantastic. But he's got a real come-from-behind story, some really bad things that happened, and he talks about how he made his comeback. By the way, he happened to be the #1 salesperson for Cutco knives in history. So, you guys know what's involved in selling Cutco Nice. This is the #1 guy ever. So he's done some really neat things in life, major success, and it comes down to the morning. It's when you start your morning, how you start your morning. Jack, you just gave a great quick tip. It's what you do the night before that's part of your rhythm. I would love both Jack, you to share real quick hits on your morning rhythm, and Josh, I want you to follow up with what are your quick hits for an awesome morning rhythm that creates an amazing day.
You got it.
Jack.
So I feel like I delivered that one to you, Dave, in the context of working up the to-do list and then knocking out my exercise and then coming back and chopping through the pile of the list. So that's kind of where my rhythm comes from. I will also tell you that I have a clarity of my vision of what I'm trying to accomplish in a big scale. And one of the things that I challenge myself with all day long, and all the loan originators, all the coaches on the call need to understand this, high payoff activities. Focusing on the high payoff activities and not getting distracted by the things that are not going to generate you new business. And I stay focused on those high payoff activities, and I push all the other things away.
Beautiful. Josh, you're up.
Dave, I gotta interview Jack real quick here, if you don't mind. It's a couple of quick questions. You talk about the night before mentally preparing for the next day. So just can you walk me through that ritual? Because if there's not a ritual, then an emergency or a wedding or something pulls you off of that. So tell me about that ritual the night before, if you would.
Yes. So it's more than just a mental prep, Josh. It is literally physically taking out a piece of paper and putting the bullet points, and if I can, even with a timeline, like I'm looking at my list today. It was, to be out there at the gym by at least 5 o'clock this morning, to be back at breakfast by 7:30, to be on this phone call at 9. I have a 10:30, I have an 11, I have a 12, I have a 1, and then I have a 3 o'clock plane to catch. And all of those things are high payoff activities. If I took you through each one of them, they either are like this today that we're doing right now, or they're talking with clients that have already booked me for next year, or I'm closing on a deal and I'm the last piece of the puzzle before they cement the deal for next year's calendar. So it's all done prior to the day starting so that I can rev my engine up all throughout the night and be ready to hit the street hard right out of the get-go.
And then are you keeping a tally, like sometimes you've got a great idea or a piece that needs to be moved through and it takes more than one day to do it. So how are you tracking your kind of longer-term goals that you got to really get the organization to move in order to accomplish?
Yeah, so there's a lot of tools that I use, and I'm going to be the first one to admit that I don't leverage the apps that you could use technologically out there as well as I do with a calendar, a pen, and a paper, and a continuing, ongoing to-do list. So things that are carried over from time to time, I'm very cognizant that there's Evernote out there. I'm very cognizant of the apps that I could be leveraging. But I will tell you that I've had a system and a process that I have followed literally for over 50 years that has produced effectiveness, and I'm unwilling to flip it into a technology format because it takes me less than 10 minutes a day to track and measure all the things that I do. I want to encourage the listeners, but I really want to go to you, Josh. I really want you to go to my website at jackdaly.net, and I want you to pull off the year in review 2013. So every quarter, I sit down with what I call the board of directors of my life. There are 5 of them. And I have very detailed goals. They're posted on my website as well. And so that increases my accountability, both posting them on the website as well as having this board of directors in my life. And I produce a quarterly report, but the report I'm talking about is an annual report. It goes for about 5 pages. And the reason I'd like you to take a look at it is I want you to see the degree of the amount of things and to the degree that I measure them. And when you see what I'm doing on the personal side of my life, you can imagine what I'm doing on the business side of my life. And so I talk an awful lot of what causes salespeople to be successful. One of the things I talk about is called backward thinking, which is define success and chart back to the present. And I am a walking, talking, real deal in what I teach. I walk the talk, and so it's right there on the website.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up, Jack. What was the link to the thing that you wanted Josh to download?
It's called Year in Review 2013.
Okay. Guys, I just clicked on it so everybody can see it. What a tremendous resource. I mean, you know, make sure you guys, everybody on this call, so much can be learned from that. And Josh, that was a fantastic question. But Josh, continue with your questioning, and whenever you want to transition to what your morning rhythms are, love to hear it.
No, I was just drawing some parallels to a similar routine, which is remarkably similar, except that I kind of do that strategic planning that he does the night before in the morning, and I'm thinking about resetting my schedule. But my schedule is I do a wind down 15-minute gratitude where I literally just lay in bed before I go to sleep. And the reason I bring this up is because I do believe that the morning is teed off by the way you end the day. And so for me, it's a gratitude, and I just literally start thinking about how grateful I am to be, you know, in a cool house. It was 104 degrees yesterday, you know, so we have air conditioning, and the bed is comfortable, and my wife is next to me, and my son Xander's in his bed comfortably, and my daughter's in her bed, and the alarm's on, and, you know, I just kind of like grow this ball of gratitude, which is what I kind of end with for the night. And then in the morning, you know, I have a ritual built around, and my alarm clock goes off somewhere between 3:30 and 4 in the morning, and I have a ritual around, you know, Jack, I love coffee. So sometimes I don't get out of bed, admittedly, with quite as much vigor as you do, but what drives me out of bed when that annoying alarm goes off is I know that I'm only minutes away from that incredible coffee. So I get there. And then I have just a bit of a routine. Of course, I'm coached by Bill Hart at Building Champions, and so, you know, everything you do comes from a life plan, which moves into a business plan, and then your actual day-to-day application. So I start that day with that cup of coffee, and I review an account out of my life plan. And that plan, you know, there's a section for my wife and for my family and for our goals. And so I start with kind of a big picture review of that life plan, and then in the end, there it goes to my goals. And then from there, I have the big project of the day. So usually in the annual or monthly goals, there's a big project, and so I'll work on that for an hour. From there, I go downstairs, and if I have a few extra minutes as I'm down in a protein drink or something before I go down and work out, I'll check a few emails, but that's unlikely in most cases. And then I'll go down, and it's an hour of workout. It's back upstairs for breakfast with the family, and I'm in the office by about 8:15. We have a gratitude meeting where all of our loan reps get together in my office, and we spend 30 seconds each sharing what we're grateful for this morning. And then we spend 30 seconds sharing what it is we're going to accomplish this morning. And then we roll into 2 hours of prospecting, do not disturb signs, all calls forwarded to our admin. And we stay in our outboxes in our email, and we just promote, call, dial, talk. And then it's 10:30, and now I'm on a phone call with you.
Wait a minute, man. So first of all, Jack, I want you to break that down, but think about a couple things I heard. You know, there's a lot of emotional attitude management personally and as a leader of a team. You know, there's obvious, you know, planning. You know, it didn't just happen by accident. It's like you are planning for a great attitude both personally and as a team. And then I just love the fact that you are, you know, you're ensuring that there is prospecting and winning by 11 o'clock. You know, so what happens after 11? There's probably a little more, I don't want to call it chaos, but things that are as unpredictable. But between, you know, 0 and 11, there's a great attitude and there's a lot of prospecting. That's what I heard. Jack, what did you hear that we could bring back to loan officers and realtors?
Success does not happen by accident. It happens by purpose. And Josh just walked the talk. It's all about focus. Focus precedes success. He has a clear idea of where he has a painted picture of what he wants his life to be. Not just his business, but his life. He's encaptured his business within his life. He has his goals. They're in writing. He's shared them with other people. He has a system of measurement. He has a system of accountability. And I will tell you this, that whenever I have an opportunity to interview what I call the top 10 percenters, and the top 10% of salespeople are generating a disproportionate amount of sales. In fact, let me show it to you this way. When we took the national United States statistics of all salespeople in all industries and combined them, what we found is the bottom quartile of sales producers are producing less than 6% of the sales. The top salespeople are generating 65% or higher of the sales overall in the United States. So then when you focus on that top quartile, if you peel off the top 10% overall, what you find is systems, processes, focus, goal orientation, all wrapped under a word called discipline. And that's what I just heard Josh just walk the talk. It's all about discipline and focus.
Well, this call has been fantastic, guys. I want to kind of give some closing thoughts, then I want to throw it to both of you. You know, at the beginning I made a promise that today is about having inspired conversations with borrowers and realtors. Each of you could give a quick close and a quick thought on that would be in just a minute here. I want to challenge everybody on this call. This is your, Tuesday morning mortgage coach call. Are you being a mortgage coach? Are you delivering that value? Obviously, if you came to today's call, you got some inspiration, you got some ideas. Make sure you come to our Tuesday call to get more tactical around how to use our technology to drive value. If you're brand new to the community, come to our Friday call. It's for beginners. I do want to remind everybody I'm going to be interviewing Steve Harney, top leader for realtors, one of the best providers of insight. I believe that loan officers who are helping realtors with open houses, who are delivering value in real estate offices, could be doing it a lot better. Open house flyers are nice, but delivering insight and value is better. So talk about a leveraged activity. I mean, I really want to package this and promote this on. We're going to give you ideas to have more leverage at open houses and real estate offices. So come to that. When you think of Mortgage Coach, I want you to think of us as the best customer-facing technology company on the planet for mortgage professionals and realtors, but it's all driven by our values. We want to, drive the wow, exceed expectations, make things simple, and do it at a high level of excellence. So our mission is really, really simple. We think every buyer, every borrower in America, every realtor should always make confident mortgage decisions with total cost transparency. And we deliver that by helping loan officers and realtors educate families with mobile tech. So this is the paradigm of value that you guys all represent. Hopefully we delivered a lot of value for you today. I want to remind you that today's call will be recorded. It is recorded. It will be on our YouTube page within minutes. I'm going to be looking for some quick hits to bring into the call. And I want to do a big thank you to both Jack and Josh. These guys they make a lot of money. They get paid a lot of money for being on stage, and they took an hour out of their time to be on this call for Mortgage Coach. So I don't take that lightly. Josh, why don't you go first with your give us a 1 or 2 minute wrap, and then Jack, I'll give you the final words to close the call.
So Jack, I'm just going to pay you a couple of compliments, because in listening to you and your passion and what you've accomplished, and it drives me to want to be more passionate. One of the things that's a challenge for me that I struggle with is being passionate and consistently charged up about so many different areas of my life, with my wife and with my kids and with my exercise and with my business, and then just with recreation, in which you've interwoven your recreation with your health. And there's so many areas to give that sometimes I can fall flat in a few of those areas. And man, your message hit home to me in regards to the passion you have not only for your business and your profession and what you're teaching and teaching to the next generation, but also just your passion and your exercise and your goals with wanting to run 100 marathons and on every continent. And so you challenged me a little bit to think a little bigger, and I appreciate that. So thanks for setting that example. And then, maybe the last thing, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say the last thing was, as I was listening to you, I think one of the coolest traits in humans is the ability to be in control and to be at cause over one's environment and over one's day and over one's life, as opposed to be at effect. And what I heard from you is that when interest rates were at 17% and going to 13%, you were in control. When you set your plan for the next day, you're at cause. When you wake up in the morning, you're on purpose and you're at cause. When you have a plan to run all those marathons, you're at cause. And I love to hear people that just own that. They are just at cause of what's going on in their environment. And if something bad happens, they look around, they say, where was I responsible? What do I need to do better? And I'm going to pick my butt up and I'm going to keep moving forward. And that just oozes from you, and I applaud you for that.
Well, thanks. Hey, just remember what Dave said early on in the call, and that was he follows me on Facebook. I'd love for you to friend me on Facebook. It is very, very cool. I do a lot of posting of video and photos and raising the bar for a lot of people out there, just as I take my journey in life. A couple things here, Dave. While we've been speaking, I got a LinkedIn request from one of your listeners, Glenn Hafner. Great coaching call today with Mortgage Coach. Thanks for delivering a boom. And so I love that. I would also make mention that you mentioned Darren Hardy on the call. Well, Darren Hardy, the publisher of Success Magazine, this month's issue that's out right now, I'm featured on the audio CD that's included in the magazine. So if any of your listeners want a little bit more of Jack, Success Magazine, the insert of the audio is in there. I spend about 45 minutes with Darren in an interview format. And an awful lot of what I talked there, we did not talk about here. Last thing that I would offer your listeners is my book, which is Hyper Sales Coach, covers 3 areas: culture, how to create a winning environment in your business; sales management, how to grow, recruit, train, grow your sales force; and sales. But when I come to my audiences and tell them about the best sales book that's ever been written, I tell them it's Getting Naked by Pat Lencioni, who every book he's written has been a worldwide bestseller. And let me give you the essence of Getting Naked. When you care more about your customer than you do about the sell, you will sell more than anyone else out there. And if we could just take that nugget and apply it to our financial advisors, to our lawyers, to our realtors, and to our builders, if we could do that and bring them value and care more about them than us, you would see your loan volume pick up in a dramatic fashion.
Boom. Guys, I don't think we could take it any better. I mean, having you two on this call, all the wisdom, all the insight. I will be listening to this again. I urge any manager on this call, take great notes, share this with your team. If there's a part of the call that you think is just a real, like a 5 to 10 minute quick hit that you'd like the Mortgage Coach team to edit to bring it down to just something tight, let me know what that is. Josh, I'm looking forward to interviewing you for being the main guest in a few weeks. And Jack, I will continue to follow you. I want to play golf again with you someday soon. And hopefully I'll get you back on a coaching call within a year.
Hey, it's been awesome, Dave. I feel like we've been in the same room together for the last hour. Very, very fulfilling.
Right on. Take care, everybody. Have a fantastic week. And again, thank you, Jack. Thank you, Josh. I am grateful for the value you brought to the call today. Take care, guys.